Welcome back to the Psychological Paradigm Shift Movement. I hope you found the last episode informational and helpful. I'm Ed Rieger, your host. People have told me to explain who I am as part of the introduction. I am the creator of the Psychological Paradigm Shift Movement. You can find the entire layout of the movement on my website, psychologicalparadigmshift.com. On the website, you will learn what the mission of the movement is, the books I have written and are going to release, the laws I am beginning to release currently, and the podcast episodes as we tape them. And you'll be able to follow my political activities when we launch. Always remember, I am only providing my personal opinions based on my experiences and education on psychological topics. We will be talking about mental illness in a very blunt, transparent manner. The topics may be disturbing to some, and it's never my intent to hurt anyone, only to share my ideas and thoughts. Tonight we're going to cover psychological education and self-assessment analysis, and the questions that you may want to ask your potential partner. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics in 2025, there are roughly 204,300 psychologists and a little over 45,000 psychiatrists in the U.S. Reports state that in 2022, that 23% of Americans had visited a psychiatrist or psychologist. Now, if you take that 23% and multiply it by roughly 340 million Americans, that's 78 million people. If you divide that into the roughly 250,000 psychiatric professionals that are in America, and how many working days there are in a month, and how many people each professional would have to help, those numbers are kind of unimaginable. The numbers do not add up due to the lack of professionals out there. This is why when dating, you have to become your own psychological detective. When you're communicating with a potential partner, the questions you want to ask here can be very enlightening, and it will help you decide how to move forward in your relationship with them. Fog lifters will probably be able to and willing to answer some or all of the questions, but chaos chasers most likely won't be able to answer any of them, nor will they want to. The number one reason these questions will be so difficult for most people is in our society and our education system, we do not mandate psychological education. The powers to be don't want or think that citizens should be educated in one of the pillars of our daily existence, our mental well-being, and our cognitive and critical thinking abilities, and probably the number one thing that humans will do together on a daily basis is communicate. And the more knowledge and information we have is going to be critical in those communications with each other. As a fog lifter, I believe that psychological education and knowledge are critical for my well-being and my ability to communicate with my spouse, friends, family members, and coworkers. That's why I believe the 21st century is going to be shaped by education and knowledge of mental disorders, psychiatry, and neuroscience. I believe this knowledge base will dominate our communications in the following decades. The lack of education and knowledge about psychological and neurological information, I believe, is the main reason for the psychological paradigm shift. Hopefully, the books I write, the podcast, the political campaign I run will bring all of this to the forefront of societies throughout the world. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Most of these questions are going to be very direct and straightforward. So there won't be a lot of follow-up on each question, just to give you an idea. Have you ever read any books on psychology or psychiatry? What did you find helpful from them? Have you read any self-help books? How many? Did you find them helpful? Have you read any relationship improvement books? How many? Did you find them helpful? Have you ever taken the ACE test? That's the Adverse Childhood Experience Test. I took this test as an adult, and I scored a perfect 10. That's not good. It meant that my childhood was filled with abuse. I think this test is extremely critical for children and young adults to become aware of. It can be a real game changer in your knowledge base of a lot of issues you may be dealing with, facing, or hidden. So if you can look up the ACE test, Adverse Childhood Experience Test, I would highly, highly recommend it. Have you ever read anything about complex PTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder? Have you ever read the DSM-5? That's the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder. It's the diagnostic manual that the mental health community uses for understanding their patients' needs and how to treat them. If you haven't read the DSM, I would highly recommend you get a copy and read it. It's a long read, but I would do it. Do you do any activities that are considered self-healing? Meditation, yoga, exercising, special diets, vitamin regimen? Do you own any books on psychiatry or psychology? If you have children, have you ever introduced them to the knowledge of psychiatry or psychology? Do your parents and siblings ever talk to you about the treatments they may be receiving? Do your parents or siblings ever talk about psychiatric or psychological texts they've read or are reading? You can see very quickly if someone has ever given any thought to the severity of mental illness they may be afflicted with. And these questions may also uncover your possible lack of education on any psychological information yourself. If you're going to attempt having a relationship with someone with psychological issues, I would highly recommend you become educated yourself so that you try and protect yourself the best you can. Educating yourself may give you a better understanding of the psychological issues your potential partner may be afflicted with. I wish you all the best with this category and these questions and your ongoing education of yourself and your children for the future. Okay, let's end there. Next week, we're going to cover aging parents and family members with medical needs. Thank you for sharing with me tonight. I hope this information was helpful to you as we progress through our psychological paradigm shift. Remember, you can go to the website psychologicalparadigmshift.com, and I will post any updates when I have them, and you can sign up to receive future information. I look forward to next week's episode. Take care of yourselves.